All right, y'all. So we are back with another tier list video, and I was thinking about holding off for this, but I wanted to go ahead and do it anyways, just cause, right? I just feel like talking about this topic today. Now, we may likely see an update for this, I don't know, like in the next week or maybe even the week after. It depends when Tech Cell's Super Easy releases. I actually don't think it's gonna release at the start of part 2. I think it's gonna release a few days after the banners, probably. So like in this range. And then this week we'll get the year 7 LREZs, stuff like that, right? But who knows? Texel Super Easy could release next week. I'm thinking we're gonna start seeing like the Saiyan Saga Parry Z's and things like that. Because we haven't had an exact like new Extreme Z battle introduced yet. Either way, 4 characters to talk about here. So what I decided to do is I'm gonna make an actual like tier to tier list and add these characters to this. This is still in order, but the reason why I'm doing this instead of an actual top 10 tier list is because, again, one, Texel is going to be releasing, and I assume he'll probably fit the top 10 TURs tier list for Dokkan Fest anyways. And then 2, I think that with new events coming out, probably, when part 2 starts, we have seen the announcement in game, like the new red zone stages and things like that. It could shake up this list quite a bit. So this is generally what I had before, like any changes to with the 10th anniversary events, things like that, or new characters introduced. I think the only change I personally am making is moving Tech Buuhan up here to above Super Saiyan 3 and Fat Boo. I think that's the only thing I'm thinking, just because I think he's in a much better spot right now. And villains, we've been getting a lot of these EZAs for villains. I mean, these 2 characters are not only fitting his team, but fit the Glorio team, work with this guy well. Kid Buu works with this guy well. I guess this is the only character that could actually get his power absorption, transformation out early, but with events being longer, I think he's in a much better spot. But I digress. Maybe again that could change, right? I think the thing about the reason why I want to do this is because I want y'all to show that a lot of this could be moved around. Like a lot of this could be really moved around. Maybe Goten and Trunks can move a tier down. Maybe, I don't know. I feel very comfortable, but like it's weird because I would have put Goten and Trunks above Goku, but it's like I think they're in the similar range of strength. Like if you wanted to argue Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku over Goku for whatever reason, I think there is strong like points you can make in that situation, right? Either way though, I think it's really whatever. I just want to go ahead and talk about these characters, at least for the rest of the characters. It's whatever. So we'll be starting things off with AGL Super Vegito, right? And we'll just talk about what this guy is able to do with the Super EZA. I think they did a great job with this guy. When he originally was shown, I think that we didn't know anything about the leader skill buffs. We didn't know anything about what the new tech LR Vegito was going to do, and that obviously does help a bit that this guy, like, they share 6 links. This guy could power this character's counters. It's just a really good partnership, and the fact that there's more HP now, this guy just has extra stats. He's looking a lot better, even getting some of these links that you wouldn't usually get, such as I mean, Fuse Fighter is a link you can get pretty decently commonly, but there's not like too many good units. That makes sense, right? We have the new Gogeta now, but that wasn't out by the time this guy came out. Gotenks was there. We had the Gogeta here. This Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is fine, right? These 3 dodge or die, right? These 3 pretty much are dodge or die, right? Like there wasn't any like character that's like, oh yeah, this character is insanely OP busted Fuse Fighter character until like this guy came out, really. Gotenks actually was also really that on the level, but this guy also has power bestowed by God, and like basically 15% attack added to this character plus the leader skill. It's a lot, right? Now I would say I'm a fan of this guy more than I thought I would originally be, but at the end of the day, I do think he still is a normals merchant, if you kind of can call it that, where if he gets placed where super attack is when you don't have a scouter up, this guy could get demolished. If this guy gets locked by tech 17, there are situations where he can die, but I've also seen situations where he actually does live, especially if you have this ability up with the guard and the scouter himself, right? You could put him where the super attack is, and even with just a 40% reduction plus the guard, he's actually able to eat those attacks very well. He's supporting as well. I think I've seen his counter damage get pretty like high levels. Like this guy if you have like Super Saiyan 4 Goku on the team, Daima Goku on the team, like this guy's counters could start doing some real considerable damage. And he has Bill and Crit too. I think he's doing really well for what he can do. By the way, I hit my mic, so if you heard like a little bump, that was why. He's doing really good for a counter unit, more than like especially like compared this guy to physical Super Vegito, it's a 9-day difference, right? On terms of on release performance. Yeah, again, he's doing quite a bit. I think the only thing about this guy again is like early on it could be a little dangerous for him, right? You know, if you're running him in the Janemba or Gogeta fight. But I really have found no issue with this character in Goku Frieza for the most part. And the thing about these fights getting longer now is we're going to be able to get a lot of extra scouter abilities. This character, the Tech Vegeta has a scouter, Tech Gogeta has a scouter. You know, let's say if we assume we're getting another Gogeta Part 2, which a lot of people are thinking, that we'll just get the reverse of this guy. It makes sense, right? If that does indeed happen, it's very likely Super Gogeta gets another scouter himself, so we could potentially have just like scouters all around. There's also, if we take a look here at this character, you can run this character who does actually have a scouter for 2 turns as well, so you could even further protect Super Vegito in that situation from like these super attacks early on. And if you do run that character, you have a scouter up basically the entire fight. So I actually would say I'm going to put AGL Super Vegito right here. I actually do like him a little better than Beerus. Now, again, if we bring up Beerus as just a direct comparison, I guess we could bring up Shocking Speed. I think the thing about Beerus is he will obviously be a better overall just like tank character. I do think though that in every other situation, Vegito is gonna be better. His support is to all allies still. I think that the damage he's gonna do is a lot higher as well. I think that when it comes to like just those 2 things, plus, you know, even in terms of like him eating supers, he's not gonna eat supers as well as Beerus. I think that's the only thing. You could, if you really wanted to, make an argument, but I think what this guy's overall providing to the team he's on is a little more to my liking than what Beerus is doing. And Beerus is still quite good. He has the rage mode for 2 times. He's just a tankier character. I feel like Vegito is just in a spot where he is pretty well protected. I've also seen Vegito in situations where, again, if you do have this up, man, he's also just tanking everything, right? He also has a scouter. I've seen him where, you know, he is able to live Goku Frieza super. I think it is above 50%, but he can live that super attack actually because he has type commanders there. So for considering how the game is right now, that's useful. And I know I just like this guy a lot. I think he is pretty sweet, honestly, and he works very well with the brand new LR. I think that does give him some brownie points there. But again, it's in the same tier anyway. So if you're like, I actually like Tech Beerus more, I mean, sure, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're wrong, right? But yeah, next we'll talk about Buuhan here. I think Buuhan is a very good character as well. I think that's an understatement. I think Buuhan is obscenely powerful. He's just doing so much. I mean, wow. He's doing very similar things to Vegeta in terms of his support, right? You know, he's providing offense support instead of defense support here. But the thing about Buuhan is, I mean, I think he's just doing more damage, because the thing about Vegito is, I think you'll see, you know, when I put the other characters on here, Vegito is the character that I think, well, we'll talk about it, but he is reliant on what the enemy's doing, if that makes sense, right? Like, he's reliant on the enemy attack patterns and the RNG with there. That does matter, like, oh, how much damage he's gonna do, if he's going to survive this turn, you know, if he's not gonna get super attacked, especially if you don't have a scouter up. This guy doesn't really care. You just kind of put him in slot 2. I mean, he's a rainbow orb changer. He later makes more orbs for himself. He's a mega nuker. He heals so much HP. No RNG with the additional guaranteed super. He just launches a guaranteed additional super. He has 66% damage reduction. Basically gets guaranteed crit. He's absurd. I don't know. He's a character that you run him and he just feeds into himself, right? With the rainbow orb changing especially. This guy, and he's supporting us, like, he's very easily, like without effort, shooting like double 40 mil attack stats. You can get this guy like, if you're running him on the Buu team and you have, I guess this Buu is not showing. If you have this guy and then you use his active skill, if you guys don't know, the active skill changes all keys versus cookies. This does count for this. So then this guy, of course, he's auto supering basically, right? With his link set, right? He's not really going to have an issue getting actual super attacks off. So it's a thing where he will do like double 100 mil attack stats, right? Triple 100 mil attack stats with the Ibu, which is not a common thing, but you could see it. But I've also gotten turns where he's like very like later on in fights with the orb changing, he's getting like honestly like up to like 13 orbs, and he's doing like double 60 mil attack stats with pretty much guaranteed crit. And then in terms of defense, man, he's not dying to anything. Like this guy's absurd. This guy is stupid, really stupid, dumb character. Of course, you know, he's on the Glorio team, which helps quite a bit. You could also run him on the Broly team too. So he has two really strong teams that really helps out what this guy's doing. Yeah, no, I think this guy is up here with Glorio. I really do genuinely think so. I mean, yeah, no, this guy is doing so much. Because this orb changing also helps the team out, even though you could say he's a little orb hungry, but the rainbow orb changing will still always be helpful for the other characters on the team too, once you give him his own orbs, at least from what I found anyways. This guy is awesome. He's really, really powerful, and I don't really think there's much to say about him. He's definitely like the character you use, and then I think he's the most obviously powerful character out of the rest of them. In terms of like, you know, we'll talk about these other two, and then in terms of Vegito, definitely. Like Vegito's good character, but I don't think he's like standing above the rest of these other characters like Buuhan is. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. No, I think this guy is really stupid. And I guess I should talk about Kid Buu and Diamond Goku. I like these two better than Super Vegito, just because I feel like they're less reliant on enemy attack patterns, which is something I brought up about Vegito. And even like Beerus, the thing about Beerus is that he does have to get hit a couple of times. So I've seen situations where Beerus can kind of just like instantly get one shot. Vegito does need to build up, but I don't think it's as big of a deal. And I think these two, like, I guess Kid Buu also is in that situation where he does need to build up, but I think for him it's less worse because he builds up when he attacks, so it's less reliant on what the enemy's doing. And then Diamond Goku is, I don't know, I think this guy is low-key underrated, but maybe some people think, oh, I'm juicing him too much. I really like Diamond Goku too. This guy is doing so much, but yeah, no. Next, we'll talk about, I think, we'll talk about Gogeta next. I think this is the character that a lot of people will want to kind of understand. And I think this character is way better than people thought he was going to be. Shocker, right? I think the thing about this guy is, I mean, in terms of just the numbers of what he's doing, you know, in general, because no matter what, whether he's facing a super class or extreme class enemy, he's going to have the same offensive numbers. For me, he's just basically doing like triple 20 mil attack stats with tons of crit built in, even against superclass enemy, right? He has this high chance, and then he gets this extra 10%. Like, I think it's fair to say you get 2 or 3 orbs with him, so 70 to 80% chance to crit. See this guy like 20, 22 mil attack stats. He could do 4 of them. This addition with a high chance, guaranteed additional super attack as a second or third attacker, hidden potential system. You're likely giving this guy like full additional almost. And in worst case scenario, he's still super effective against all types. So yeah, no, I mean, this guy just comes in, does like 420 mil attack stats a lot of the times. If he has the guard ability up, which, you know, I think more often than not, you'll probably have this guard ability. You have guard with 30% damage reduction, and he unironically could reach like 2 mil plus defense, especially again if you are running Super Saiyan 4 Goku on the team with the 44% defense. I've seen screenshots of this guy start of turn, bro's at like 2 mil defense, and then he does have this ability, which this, by the way, if you want to just keep in mind that this and this adds together, then when attacking 100% defense, and then for every attack performed up to 200%, that would add to a full 300%. So if you see this guy like at 2 mil defense start of turn when he's built up, he's not going to shoot to 4 mil, but he'll probably shoot to like a solid, like, I don't know, 2.5 mil probably is what I'm thinking, right? Just like kind of roughly gauging the numbers. I could be off by a bit, but I don't think it's not. I just want to clarify that it's not like as big of a mega jump, right? Still, man, I mean, yeah. The only thing about this character is the fact that he doesn't Rainbow Orb change himself, but again, just like Vegito, where he's on a team with tons of scouters, this guy's on a team where at least a lot of setups where there's a good amount of Rainbow Orb changers that you can use. So I personally never really had issues with getting this guy the Rainbow Orbs that he wants, right? And you know, if you don't get him any Rainbow Orbs or very little, you could definitely see his performance fall down. Against the super class enemies, I'm definitely not going to be as tanky, but I mean, I've seen this guy in the Super Gogeta fight. Like for me personally, turn 2 in the Super Gogeta fight, he got his 4 attacks, he had his guard up, he took that super attack for 300k, which, you know, it's very impressive, regardless, right? Because a super attack will damage a lot of characters, but considering this guy, he's, you know, doing again really good damage, I think, honestly, for a Super EZA character especially. I mean, I guess I say for a Super EZA character, but just in general, like doing 3 20 mil attack stats with guaranteed crit, that's quite a bit. And he's supporting offensively, so he's helping everyone else do extra damage. Yeah, no, this guy's good. I like him one place above Vegito, right? And I think these two characters, I like Gogeta more just because I think at the end of the day, Gogeta is not a merchant to taking super attacks. But I think, you know, when it comes to Vegito, he's helping the team in a way I like better with the defensive support. And he does have this ability still, which, again, I don't think it's a common ability you'll see, but I'm not going to say it's uncommon either, especially with how BS these bosses can be. Like, there's situations where this can happen, and I think it's pretty cool that he can actually get the ability for the guard here, because once this is, like, if this is up, he's better than Gogeta, but without it, he's not. I think on average, Gogeta is going to be the better character. I think in good turns, this guy could also look better than Gogeta in the fact that, let's say, if there are a lot of attacks and then there's no super attacks, you'll be able to see with a scouter. Or maybe even if the super attack is from an STR boss, this guy could potentially also live the super attack, right? With his 40% reduction still. So it's very situational. That's why I think I like these guys like side by side to each other. I just think Gogeta is, again, I'm gonna say it again, less reliant on what the enemy's doing and more reliant on what he's doing and what the team is doing, right? Which I think is more important overall. But I like these two right here, like so, like Kid Buu and Beerus. I think people aren't a fan of this Beerus character, but I think he's definitely on their level for sure. And like all these characters are just, again, like they all have situations and turns where they could all look better than the other. Like in Buu on his Ghost Usher turn, you could argue he's the best character here because he's just completely dealing the enemy's attacks for sure, right? You know, and he full heals you basically that turn. You could say that Super Saiyan 3 Goku turn 1 is better than all these other characters, and yeah, you know, he has guard and 90% damage reduction turn 1, right? Yeah, there's it's situational, right? Go to the Trunks active skill turn if you are able to get that off, right? He guaranteed dodge, doing a lot more damage than a lot of these other characters too. Yeah, anyways, Janemba is stupid. He's a stupid character. I think the thing about Janemba is he's in a spot where in the Goku Frieza fight, he's at a mega disadvantage because he'll be facing an extreme class enemy, so he's getting less defense. He will be not able to dodge, which is a huge part of his kit. So his defense, I've seen his defense personally get to like 1.2 mil. I think you can get it much higher depending on support, depending on what other characters you see. But, you know, this guy does die in a good amount of situations against a 17 of Frieza super attack, but outside of that, this guy literally does not die ever. I mean, he has 90% dodge before he attacks, and he's supporting defense. His damage numbers, I've seen him do like triple 24 mil with super effective, which is definitely not bad considering that, again, he has 90% dodge. 90% dodge is crazy before you attack because that's where the enemy's gonna likely try and kill you. This guy doesn't dodge the super attack. He should be fine in a lot of situations still. I've had him eat the, or I say eat, but he was able to live Goku and Frieza super above 50% HP, which isn't the craziest thing ever. But again, like that was a situation where he dodged like 6 attacks and he took that one specific attack. It's like 9 out of 10 times he's dodging the super attack for you, essentially. Like he has an easy way you could probably put it. You know, And even after he attacks, he still does have 70% dodge, right? I think the only thing I would add to this guy is maybe like a little bit of damage reduction, but I don't really think it matters. Yeah, no. I think y'all gotta keep in mind this activates every turn. So like if he's at like 600k, 700k start of turn defense, that'll double. So that'll go to like 1.2 mil, 1.4 mil, right? Depending on how much defense you actually have on the character, which is pretty huge. Most of the time he's taking 0 damage though. I mean, I like him in this tier, in this C tier. Yeah, no, I just think, yeah, I just really, he's so stupid. I feel like there's character peak turns on here that could look better than Janemba, but on average, he's an extremely safe character. And as a slot 1 character, I think he's better than every other character in here. For sure. Like I think the only character you could say is probably better is, again, this guy turn 1. I mean, and then maybe this guy with his domain up, you could definitely argue that too. But no, yeah, I would say every other character is, like, on average, especially if you're talking about throughout the entire fight, like, this guy is definitely better as a slot 1 than most of these characters, right? And I think the only thing is, like, if he gets locked in slot 2, it could be an issue because he's not providing his defensive support. I don't think that's going to be a too common occurrence, though. I think in a lot of situations, you'll be able to have this guy in slot 1 or slot 3, like most of the rotation, right? And even if you float him off in the 17 Frieza phase, he still has the supportive ability he's giving to all other allies. Yeah, again, the only thing about this character is, you know, if you get a more really strong dodge canceling phase, but I don't really think, even then, it's like, you could still float this guy and he'll still be fine, right? He doesn't have to be slot 1, which is nice, right? If he was just tied to slot 1, maybe that could be more of an issue, but not really. Against AoEs, like, if he's against AoEs, even in slot 3, he still has a 90% dodge. Like, this guy's gonna age very well. Maybe you could have given him a little healing, but I don't know. Amazing link set. He's on Glorio's team, he's on Broly's team, Tech Buuhan's team, so he's on a lot of really good villain setups. I just think it's a thing of, he's not gonna be looking at, like, he's not gonna look as flashy as like Gogeta or Vegito on their best turns. But I think in terms of what he's actually providing to for the team and how he's gonna look like, and, you know, I guess maybe this could be a little bit of me viewing how he's gonna perform in those other stages. That's gonna be fun, because at the end of the day, this guy is just put him in slot 1 and you don't die, right? I think that's pretty much it, and it's very simple compared to a lot of these other characters. But yeah, I mean, he's not like 100% unkillable, because obviously it's not like he has 100% dodge, but I just like this guy so much, and Buuhan as well. Like, these two has these two has rotation, and they just destroy everything. Yeah, and it's where these characters, I think Gogeta could look better if, like, let's say if the part 2 LR is a Gogeta and he Rainbow Orb changes and maybe he provides a domain. This character is not on a team where he's getting a 220% leader skill yet, so that could be a situation where he starts to look a lot better, and then maybe he could be in a situation where he could even fit up here. But for now, I think I'm gonna have him here. Anyways, this is it. This is all really we're talking about here. There are other characters you could fit on here and throw on here. Maybe, I mean, like this blue Goku would probably fit like at the end here or something like that. Again, not a big deal. There's just a general idea of what I'm thinking. But let me know what you guys think. Again, I wanna, and this could change very easily. Things could be like, we get, like, what if you get 3 bosses, hardest fights in the game, that dodge cancel? This guy goes down, right? If we get, you know, more STR bosses and then they super attack always in a specific slot, this guy's value could go up, like kind of like in Goku Frieza. We see, you know, Goku Frieza is always going to super in slot 1. You could just not put this guy in slot 1 and he does a bajillion damage in his crits. Even then, you could use Tech Vegito's target skill, then this guy provides some 30% extra damage on his active, right? Or on his counters too. We could get a boss where, I mean, I guess what boss would Gogeta really be beneficial? If anything, Gogeta could be potentially in an issue. Same with Vegito, because there's going to be a lot of there's potentially going to be a lot of super class enemies upcoming. But being fair, we're also gonna get like, a lot of these extreme class bosses, like, Majin Buu Saga Red Zone. I think, Resurrection F Red Zone will probably be coming soon for like the Goku and Vegeta story. So we'll see. Anyways, like I said, we don't know for sure what these events are going to look like. I'm excited. Let me know what y'all think though. I'm ending here finally. Catch you guys next time.